Hey there, everyone. Hope you've had a wonderful week. We begin this week Sefer Shemot, and we are introduced to Moshe, one of the most consequential human beings, if not the most consequential human being to ever live. One of the stories we learn of Moshe from his younger days is the story when he, after growing up in the palace, he at some point goes out to see his brethren, to see what's happening with the Hebrews. And he witnesses an awful scene. He sees a Jew being beaten by an Egyptian taskmaster in a way that, that really disturbs him. This scene really gets to him. And the Torah describes about Moshe in that moment. Vayifan kovacho, he looked this way, he looked that way. Vayar ki ein ish, there was nobody there. Vayachad hamitzri, and he struck the Egyptian. Vayitmereu v'chol, and he hides the body of the Egyptian taskmaster in the sand to try to ensure the cover-up. Now, on a very simple level, the reason he turned this way and that way was to make sure the coast is clear. That is undoubtedly the way that most would interpret that phrase. But I want to share with you another interpretation. And I thank my dear colleague and friend, Rabbi Dov Lerner, for sharing this source. And that is the interpretation of the Abarbanel. The Abarbanel says there's another way you can understand this. And that he didn't literally turn this way and that way. But Vayifen ko vacho means he looked at two perspectives in that moment as he witnessed this scene. Mitzad echad, the Abarbanel writes, I shouldn't get involved here. Kimalo, what is it for me to get involved? This isn't my fight. This isn't my struggle. And he says, we take it for granted. Oh, Moshe just struck the Egyptian. Do you think the Egyptian didn't fight back if he had a chance? This wasn't a simple operation that Moshe did. He put his life at risk to save this Jew. So maybe I shouldn't get involved. I might not make it. From the other perspective, a person who's in an elevated position, such as Moshe, he grew up in a palace, he doesn't have to be a slave like everybody else. You're going to look at someone toiling and suffering, and you're not going to do anything? Part of him was saying, how can I not get involved? I am a person of privilege who has the privilege of not being a slave. I grew up in the house of Pharaoh, and here I am. I can make a difference in the life of someone who can't fight back. And I'm not going to do anything? The Abarbanel writes, channeling Pirkei Avot, V'shebemakom she'ein anoshim, roi she'yishtarel liyot ish. When there's no one else there to do the job, who can do the job? We need to be the person to step up and be the person that makes a difference, that is living a life of meaning, that our lives should be consequential. And that's what it means. He looked this way and that way. He looked at the different perspectives. Get involved, don't get involved. And what did he notice? Vayar ki ein ish. No one else can step up and do this. I am uniquely positioned to be the person that makes a difference. And Moshe goes ahead and makes a difference and perhaps saves the life of a Jew from being taken unfairly. This really speaks a lot to who Moshe is as we read the stories throughout the rest of the Torah. He's a person who lives a life of consequence, who sees himself as someone that needs to make a difference when there's no one there to step up. And this is a message for all of us. We are all going to be in positions where we're going to look around and we're going to say, should I get involved? Should I not get involved? And we look around and we say, if I don't get involved here, change is not going to happen for the better. People may suffer if I don't get involved. People's lives may not be elevated if I don't do something. And Moshe looked at that situation and said, even though maybe it's a little bit of a danger to me, maybe it's not my fight, I can't not get involved. I need to make a difference. It's a message for all of us. So when we find ourselves in those moments, toiling between two sides, we need to make sure to step up. B'makom she'ein anashim, when there's no one else there, we need to be that person to make a difference and to live a life of consequence. To live a life, where we make a tremendous difference and a tremendous impact. I wish everyone a great Shabbos and enjoy Sefer Shemot.